What a week in baseball. A coach protects a player from his own manager. And an umpire changes his mind on a play at the plate. The man the Mets call the franchise puts on a Cincinnati uniform. A team hit 16 home runs in just 3 games. And a grown man argues with a baseball, but to no avail. These are just some of the highlights as Major League Baseball presents This Week in Baseball. The Cincinnati Reds have really been moving, especially on the Los Angeles Dodgers. In Reds country, the fans have been watching their team move. Recently, they watched them sweep a 3-game series from the Philadelphia Phillies. Here we are in the last game of that series, 9th inning. The Phils lead by 1, but not for long. George Foster slams one that's out of the ballpark and ties up the ball game. That's one big reason the Big Red Machine has been moving. Power from the bat of George Foster. And another, all that Cincinnati speed. Pinch hitter Bob Bailey is no gazelle. He's on first base, but all the same in the 10th inning, Bailey was running. The Phils were so surprised they threw the ball away. No wonder Bailey hadn't tried to steal for 2 years. Sparky Anderson got away with that, but after the steal, he put in a pinch runner. Now Pete Rose, who smells another Red victory. That's no surprise, a single to right, bringing the pinch runner home with a winning run and a 3-game sweep. Rose and the Reds have plenty of reason for enthusiasm. They're the reigning champions, back in their divisional race. And recently, they acquired the man who many regard as the best pitcher in baseball, George Thomas Seaver. Right now, you're looking at an historic moment. Tom Seaver of the New York Mets pitching to Art Howe de Astros. Howe belts it deep to left. Kingman goes back and hauls it in. Another win for Tom Seaver, but it's the last pitch he ever threw for the Mets. He knew it, his teammates knew it, and an era had come to an end. In a few days, the Met ace would be packing his bags for the Reds country. Many big names changed locker rooms in last week's trading flurry. Raleigh Eastwick, Bake McBride, Dave Kingman, Gary Nolan, Ken Brett. But Seaver's was the biggest. After 10 memorable years with the Mets, it was time to say farewell to the fans of New York. But the words were hard to find. Unable to speak, Old 41 wrote the words down and asked New York Times writer Joe D'Urso to say them for him.
As far as the fans go, I've given them a great number of thrills, and they've been equally returned. And with the ovation they gave me the other night, after passing Sandy Koufax, that will be one of the most memorable and warm moments in my life.
Yes, it seemed hard to believe that Seaver was actually saying goodbye to New York. But several days later, there he stood in a Cincinnati uniform. A strange sight. Seaver in a red uniform, but nothing strange about his pitching performance against the Montreal Expos. Tom Terrific shut them out 6-0, without one runner reaching second base. And pitching wasn't all he gave to his new team. He proved he could also swing the bat, stroking 2 singles and driving in a pair of runs. Maybe Tom wanted to prove that he really belonged in this hard-hitting team. The Reds know he belongs even if he never gets another base hit. Because if Tom Seaver pitches for them like he did for the Mets, 3 Cy Young Awards, 4 20-game seasons, the best lifetime ERA of any active pitcher, Cincinnati figures their chances of overhauling the Dodgers to be pretty good. The Dodgers figure differently. Just ask Captain Steve Garvey.
Well, to me, Tom Seaver is probably the finest right-handed pitcher in baseball, and for any team that he goes to, he's both going to be a physical and psychological asset. And of course, Cincinnati needs that right now, being anywhere from 5 to 10 games behind us. But it makes me wonder why a world champion would give up so much to get a player of Tom's ability. I think when they lose Eastwick and Nolan and Zachary, it more or less neutralizes the effect of Tom Seaver. We hope so at least, but we feel we have a quality team and one that's going to go on and win the pennant.
Dodger fans obviously agree. They were out in full force to see the Dodgers take on the Cinderella Cubs. The Cubs got the best of the first encounter when the league's leading hitter, Manny Trio, tripled in the 9th inning to drive in the winning runs. That cut the Dodger first-place lead to 6.5 games in the West and boosted the Cubs' first-place margin to 5.5 in the East. But the Dodgers proved resilient. Tommy John turned in a fine pitching effort the following night with a 2-1 victory, aided by 5 double plays. And this last one ended the game. Strike 3, and the throw to second is in time to catch Bobby Mercer. Were the Dodgers turning back the oncoming red tide? Perhaps. They continued the pennant drive the next day. While the Reds lost in Montreal, Ron Cey and the Dodgers went about pushing them back in the standings. Cey provided offense with his 16th home run of the season, his second in 2 games. After a brief power slump, the Penguin is coming around again. Most important, so is Dodger pitching. The Reds have Seaver, but the Dodgers figure they have a whole staff of pitchers, particularly Don Sutton. The Dodger ace held down the Cubs with a 3-1 victory. Things look fine in Chavez Ravine as the Dodgers figure to be ready to face the Red Menace in a big series this weekend in Cincinnati, which should help tell everyone which way the wind is going to blow this summer. In San Francisco, the wind never stops blowing in Candlestick Park. Recently, it hasn't been blowing in Pirate manager Chuck Tanner's direction at all. While the Cubs have been streaking, the Bucks have been reeling. The Giants have had a lot to do with that. They swept the Pirates 4 straight this week with some alert baseball. Tim Foley makes the stop. Rob Andrews the pivot for a double play. San Francisco danced all over the Pirates with good play from some baby Giants. Rookie Jack Clark stepped up in the bottom of the 11th and won game with his team 1 run down. The pitch, and there goes a long drive deep to left field, going, and it is gone. A great souvenir for the kids. Remember that name, Jack Clark. The Pirates won't forget it. He hit 3 homers against them in this series, and he'll shake everybody's hand. After Clark's homer, the game remained tied until the 12th inning when another young giant, Gary Thomason, stepped up to the plate. Here's the pitch. There goes the ball, and it is long gone. And the Pirates are glad to be long gone from Candlestick. The Giants glad to be winning, and winning with youth. Fireworks flared in Boston this week, featuring Yankee Reggie Jackson, who asked manager Billy Martin what I'd do, and Billy told him in a manner less than cordial. And here's the play that lit the fuse. Jim Rice says, "Excuse me," as he lofts one to right field. Reggie comes in, perhaps a bit casually. At least Martin saw it that way because a simple hit became a double for Rice. Billy was so angry, his coaches had to hold him away from his superstar. Maybe Billy had other reasons to be temperamental, as New York and Boston were fighting it out at first. But Yankee hits wouldn't fall because the Sox wouldn't let them. Watch. A Bernie Carbo carpet sweep. Now it's Mickey Rivers trying his luck. A Denny Doyle spoil. Look at that. Here's Roy White at bat. Watch this play. Great Scott by George Scott. Boston pitchers wouldn't let the Yankees hit much either. Bill Campbell, the $1 million relief ace, saved 2 ball games. And aren't they sweet when your team jumps into first? Campbell saves them day after day. Ferguson Jenkins was one Boston starter who didn't need relief help from anyone. He went all the way, holding the Yankees to just 3 hits. But that's not the big story. What really happened at Fenway Park was 1977's version of the Boston Massacre. An awesome display of 4-ply power. Rick Burleson, Fred Lynn, Carlton Fisk, Carl Yastrzemski, George Scott, even Denny Doyle, Jim Rice, and on it flared. In 3 games, 16 Red Sox homers, a major league record. And 4 of those homers from a 37-year-old man, magnificent Carl Yastrzemski, having some kind of year. So are the Red Sox, who took over first place in the East. Fenway Park sounded like the 4th of July, but the fireworks aren't over yet. Yaz and the Sox will bring their arsenal to Yankee Stadium this weekend, and I wouldn't miss that party for all the British tea in Boston. Out west, the California Angels are finally making their move for a pennant. Joe Rudi knows a lot about pennants. He helped win 5 of them when he was with Oakland. Now transplanted to Southern California, Rudi is helping again with his all-around great play. The Angels swept the Milwaukee Brewers to move 3.5 games from the top, and Mr. Joe Rudi was all over the field. Another Oakland transplant, Sal Bando, now with Milwaukee, at the plate. He rips a hit out to his former teammate. Rudi charges the ball. Money charges home, but Rudi's throw is on the money. Sorry, Don. Rudi is one of the best in baseball. The Angels invested money to get him, and they aren't complaining. They also have an investment in bonds, Bobby Bonds, and he's paying off with a big year. A new batting stance has brought back the old Bonds, the superstar fans remember from his years with the Giants. This double against the Brewers brought home 3 Angels. Bonds has never been on a pennant winner, but he might be this year. The key to Angels' success is homegrown Californian southpaw sensation Frank Tanana. So far this season, Frank has been the best pitcher in the American League. Against the Brewers, he recorded his 6th shutout and his 11th win of the season. He and Nolan Ryan give the Angels the best pitching pair in baseball. And by acquiring starters Ken Brett and Gary Nolan in trades, the Angels figure they have the staff that can win their division. Of course, they still have to make the plays, like this one by Mario Guerrero to end the game. While the Angels aim for first in the American League West, guess who took over first from the Twins this week? The Chicago White Sox. How about that? And who's singing the national anthem for the White Sox? Lamar Johnson in the left corner of your screen. Nice going, Lamar. Johnson sung the anthem before a game with Oakland. Then he started humming another tune with his bat. Pitcher Mike Norris hadn't allowed a hit till Johnson hit this one, all the way into the stands and left field. That was the only White Sox hit until Johnson hit another one. And that one goes into the stands. His homers gave the Sox 2 runs, all they needed for a 2-1 victory that edged them into first place in the West. They call Chicago the Windy City, but now we can call it the Winning City. Neither team was supposed to contend this year, but both the Cubs and the White Sox have so far made it into first place. Hard to figure? Well, figure this. Oakland lost while allowing only 3 hits in this game. And who got the 3rd hit? Well, just take a look. You guessed it right. Lamar Johnson. That one didn't quite get into the stands, but Lamar had some kind of day. And now every ball player is going to want to sing the national anthem. Around the major leagues this week, we found some more oddities and entities for your enjoyment. The first one happened in San Francisco's Candlestick Park. Now you be the umpire and see if you can call the play. Larry Herndon at bat. He bloops one out to right. Dave Parker races in. Uh-oh, second baseman Randy Stennett now chases it and says, you take it. And no, you take it. The throw, now where's the runner? Oh, he's coming home. And the umpire says he's out. But the Giants say, hold on, wait a minute. They're pointing out that Catcher Duffy Dyer never had the ball. The third base umpire enters at this point, maintains the Giants are correct. So now the home plate umpire takes back his original decision. The man is safe. The Pirates wish they could take the whole play back. Here's the play again. Confusion and profusion. How often does a second baseman make a throw from the outfield fence that keeps on bouncing through the entire infield? Herndon just keeps right on running. If you were an official scorer, how would you score this? Better still, how did the batter manage to score on a bloop hit? And if the catcher never had the ball, why did the umpire make this call? I'll tell you what, just look it up in the yellow pages. But really, where is that ball? Below the catcher, right on the ground. Now try this one for kicks. Atlanta's Jerry Royster is the batter. Keep a sharp eye out now. Strike 3, but the catcher drops it. Now Jerry drop kicks it. That's illegal, Jerry, and you're out. All right, once again, on a drop third strike, the runner can run to first, but you can't get there by kicking it, Jerry. Here's another effort to control the ball, but legal this time. A good bunt down the line. Pete Rose tries to tell this ball to be good and roll foul. Nice try, Pete, but some balls just have a mind of their own. How about that? And how about this for stealing the show? Royals and the Twins, tied in the 9th inning. The pitcher's all set, but not set for this. The Royal flash was Fred Patek stealing home to win the game. Patek just seemed to come out of nowhere. A steal of home is probably the most surprising play in baseball. The steal also set up a Royal sweep of the Twins, tightening that whole divisional race. Some more good plays. It's a hit in the hole, but Ted Sizemore grabs it, turns, and gets him. Here's another. There's a drive going out into deep left center, but Fred Lynn dives and stabs it. Of course, these things are getting to be routine for Fred Lynn. How about another one? Ken Griffey takes off after a foul fly and backhands it. This was tougher than it may have seemed. Watch it again. Griffey had to catch it on the bullpen mound with a twisting backhand at that, like playing in a cow pasture. And here's the last one. A drive to deep right field. Should be out of here, but Sixto Lezcano leaps and steals it from the stands. Let's see that one more time. Lezcano is one of the best at playing right field, and he shows you why. Way to go, Sixto. Friends, each week, Gillette will award a citation to a player for outstanding play during the week. The Gillette Special. This week's Gillette Special goes to Carl Yastrzemski, who only seems to get younger. In addition to those 4 homers Yaz hit against the Yankees, he collected 9 hits and 14 at-bats and drove in 10 runs during the week. And Fenway fans loved every minute of it. In fact, fans loved baseball like never before this whole weekend. Record numbers came out to the games. An average of 28,000 fans per game in all the major league parks. They saw a lot of great action. Friends, why don't you join them this week? Your ballpark is the place to be for fun, for drama, and great excitement.